Good morning. All right, Marauders, I'm really excited to bring back a second year after COVID, our wonderful Veterans Day breakfast and celebration. Started off with some great weather. We have some great guests with us, so please enjoy this wonderful show of all of District 23's finest MacArthur Marauders. You already got breakfast. Hopefully that sits well. And now we have some great speeches and performances around the way, but let's give it a hand for everyone that's here with us this morning. All right, with that, good morning, honored guests and fellow classmates. Oops, that's Shane's line. Sorry, I jumped into Shane's line. Let me start off by introducing some of our wonderful student speakers here with us today. Mr. Shane Cheskis.
Good morning, honored guests and fellow classmates. My name is Shane Cheskis, one of the 8th graders who's honored to be speaking to you and about you today. I will begin by introducing other students who will be speaking this morning. They are Leah Dreyer, Riley Cannon, Kendall Greeny, and our Unified Advisory. We will begin this morning's program with Riley.
The origin of the Pledge of Allegiance. On September 8, 1892, Francis Bellamy, who was a circulation manager for the Boston-based magazine The Youth's Companion, wrote a few words, which ended up being published for students to repeat on Columbus Day that year. He then sent out thousands of brochures to public schools across the country. Bellamy felt that a vow of loyalty or allegiance to the flag should be the dominant theme. He especially stressed the word allegiance. Beginning with the new word allegiance, he then decided that pledge was a better school word than vow, that my flag was preferable to the flag. And the true reason for allegiance to the flag is the republic for which it stands. Bellamy then reflected on the saying of the Revolutionary War and the Civil War and concluded that all those conflicts and struggles reduced themselves to 3 words: one nation, indivisible. On October 12, 1892, 400 years after Columbus's arrival to the Americas, more than 12 million children recited the Pledge of Allegiance, thus beginning a required and meaningful school day ritual that continues today. At the first National Flag Conference in Washington, D.C. on June 14, 1923, a change was made. For clarity, the words "the flag of the United States" replaced "my flag." For the following years, various other changes were suggested but never formally adopted. It was not until 1942 the Congress officially recognized the Pledge of Allegiance. In June of 1954, an amendment was made to add the words "under God." Then President Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "In this way, we are reaffirming the transcendence of religious faith in America's heritage and future. In this way, we still constantly strengthen those spiritual weapons which forever will be our country's most powerful resource in peace and war." Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce Kendall.
On September 13, 1814, Francis Scott Key visited the British fleet in Chesapeake Bay to secure the release of Dr. William Beanes, who had been captured by the British after the burning of Washington, D.C. The release was secured, but Mr. Key was detained on the ship overnight during the bombing of Fort McHenry, one of the forts defending Baltimore during the War of 1812. In the morning, he was so delighted to see the American flag still flying over the fort that he began a poem to commemorate the occasion. First published under the title Defense of Fort McHenry, the poem soon attained wide popularity as sung to the tune "To Anacreon in Heaven." The origin of this tune is obscure, but it may have been written by John Stafford Smith, a British composer born in 1750. The Star-Spangled Banner was officially made the national anthem by Congress in 1931, though it already had been adopted as such by the Army and Navy. We sing the opening stanza of the 4-stanza song to honor the flag and the bravery of those who defend it. With that being said, would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by our Unified Advisory. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
To the flag of the United States of America and to
No one knows with absolute certainty who designed the first stars and stripes or who made it. Congressman Francis Hopkinson seems most likely to have designed it, and a few historians believe that Betsy Ross of Philadelphia Seamstress made the first one.
Until the Executive Order of June 24, 1912, neither the order of the stars nor the proportions of the flag were prescribed. Consecutively, flags dating before this period sometimes show unusual arrangements of the stars in odd proportions, these features being left to discretion of the flag maker. In general, however, straight rows of the stars' proportions, similar to those later adopted officially, were used. There are 5 principal acts affecting the flag of the United States. The first Flag Act was passed by the Continental Congress on June 14, 1777, in order to establish an official flag for the new nation. Resolved that the flag of the United States be made of 13 stripes, alternating red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation.
Then an act of January 13, 1794, provided for 15 stripes and 15 stars. An act of April 4, 1818, signed by President Monroe, provided for 13 stripes and 1 star for each state to be added to the flag on the 4th of July, following the admission of each new state.
An executive order of President Taft, dated June 24, 1912, established proportions of the flag and provided for the arrangement of the stars in 6 horizontal rows of 8 each, a single point of each star to be pointed upward. Finally, there was an executive order of President Eisenhower dated August 21, 1959. This provided for the arrangement of the stars in 9 rows staggered horizontally and 11 rows staggered vertically. Thank you. Kendall will join me to tell us about the origin of Veterans Day.
In 1921, an unknown World War I American soldier was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. This site, on a hillside overlooking the Potomac River and the city of Washington, D.C., became the focal point of reference for America's veterans. Ceremonies have occurred earlier in England and France, where an unknown soldier was buried in each nation's highest place of honor. In England, Westminster Abbey, and in France, the Arc de Triomphe. These memorial gestures all took place on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated ending of World War I, fighting at 11 a.m. November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The day became known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day officially received its name in America in 1926 through a congressional resolution. It became a national holiday 12 years later by similar congressional action. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, then November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But only a few years after the holiday was proclaimed, war broke out in Europe. 16.5 million Americans took part. 407,000 of them died in service, more than 292,000 in battle. Realizing that peace was equally preserved by veterans of World War II and the Korean War, Congress was asked to make this day an occasion to honor those who have served America in all wars. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day.
On Memorial Day 1958, 2 more unidentified American war dead were brought from overseas and buried in the plaza beside the unknown soldier of World War I. One was killed in World War II, the other in the Korean War. In 1973, a law passed providing the burial of the unknown American from the Vietnam War, but none were found for several years. In 1984, an unknown serviceman from the Vietnam War was placed alongside the others. To honor these men, representatives of all Americans who gave their lives in all wars, an Army Honor Guard from the 3rd U.S. Infantry keeps day and night watches at the gravesite. A law passed in 1968 changed the national celebration of Veterans Day to the 4th Monday in October. It soon became apparent, however, that November 11th was a date of historic significance to many Americans. Therefore, in 1978, Congress returned to the observance to a traditional date, November 11th. The focal point for the official national ceremonies for Veterans Day continues to be at the Memorial Amphitheater built around the tomb of the unknown soldier at 11 a.m. on November 11th. A combined color guard representing all military services executes present arms at the tomb. The nation's tribute to its war dead is symbolized by the laying of the presidential wreath. The bugler plays taps. The rest of the ceremony takes place in the amphitheater. Every year, the President of the United States urges all Americans to honor the commitment of our veterans through appropriate public ceremonies, this being one of them. Thank you. In just a moment, the MacArthur Concert Band will perform Marches of the Armed Forces. After that, Riley and Kendall will share a powerful poem with us. It is my pleasure now to introduce the MacArthur Concert Band, and veterans, please stand if able when you hear your fight song.
The Marines. The U.S. Army. The U.S. Coast Guard. The Air Force. The Navy.
This poem, whose author is unknown, is called I Am the Flag of the United States.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest building. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning. I stand guard with power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, I am arrogant, I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped, I am saluted, I am loved, I am revered, I am respected, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years.
I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox. I was there at San Juan Hill, in the trenches of France, in the Argonne Forest, and Anzio, Rome, on the beaches of Normandy, in Guam, Okinawa, and Korea. Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan know me. I was there, and I'm still there. I led my troops. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired. But my troops cheered me, and I was proud. I've been burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries I've helped set free. But it does not hurt me, for I am invincible. I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled in the streets of my own country. And when it's done by those whom I've served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space from my vantage point on the moon. I have borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hours are yet to come. when I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield, when I am flown at half-mast to honor my soldier, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or daughter, I am proud. Thank you. Shane and Leo will soon tell us about who is a veteran. Shane and Leo will soon tell us about who is a veteran. Now please welcome again the MacArthur Chorus and Orchestra as they perform God Bless America. Please sing along if you wish.
Who is a veteran? Some of our veterans are easy to recognize. They wear uniforms, medals, and ribbons. Most veterans, however, live among us quietly and anonymously. They're America's own sons and daughters. Let's consider for a moment the question, who is a veteran? A veteran is an elderly gentleman sitting on a park bench who helped liberate a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. A veteran is a grizzled service station mechanic who showed extraordinary courage at the 38th parallel during the Korean War. A veteran is the nurse taking care of newborns in a hospital nursery who once bandaged burned and bloody limbs at Da Nang during Vietnam. A veteran is a POW who once returned home to face a culture he didn't recognize and how he finds himself able to at last tell his story to his adult children. A veteran is a police officer driving her patrol car through the neighborhood who spent 6 months in Saudi Arabia making sure armored personnel carriers didn't run out of fuel during Desert Storm. A veteran is the older college student who braved the heat and terrorists while in Iraq or Afghanistan during Operation Enduring Freedom. On Veterans Day, we honor all people who served in our armed forces. They stand proudly in the timeline of our history. Many war heroes and visionary military leaders stand in this line of selfless service. Some bear visible signs of their bravery and service. Others carry inner signs, a soul forged and shaped by battle. Today, we offer special recognition to veterans who faced the horrors of war, and especially those who gave up their lives in service to the nation. They and their families deserve our highest praise and eternal gratitude. We remember and salute all fallen heroes today and thank their families for their ultimate sacrifice.
A veteran, however, is not only someone who fought in a war. Listen to the words of a staff sergeant who served during a desert storm. I greatly admire and respect my heroes and friends in the desert for their courage, stamina, and superb performance during the desert storm. Yet, let's not discount the accomplishments of all who stayed back in the garrisons and training fields in America. We also served, yet in ways that don't grab headlines, we kept on doing what we were paid to do, trained soldiers. We played a critical role in caring for our families left behind. We helped ensure that thousands of the Guard and Reserve soldiers were fit to fight. We took on a rear area workload, which needed to be done right. These are powerful words, and true ones. And let's not forget to honor the many other veterans who served during peacetime and those who deployed during operations other than war. All soldiers commit to putting their lives on the line. Members of the National Guard continue to put themselves in harm's way, aiding with disaster and hurricane relief efforts every year. As we saw in Mogadishu, Somalia, and at the American Embassy at Nairobi and Kenya, soldiers die in operations other than war. All soldiers train and maintain a constant state of readiness so that whenever the nation needs them, they are ready to serve and, if necessary, to fight and die for their country. Therefore, on Veterans Day, we recognize and honor the many veterans who supported our warfighters as well as all soldiers who served during peacetime. We recognize the fullest possible definition of the term veteran as any person who served during the armed forces, past and present, at home and abroad, in peacetime and in war, and on active duty, in the Army Reserve and in the Army National Guard. We honor them today as we have for many years. We owe all American veterans a profound debt of gratitude. The freedoms and opportunities we enjoy today were brought and paid for with their devotion to duty and their sacrifices.
Your contributions and acts of selfless service make a profound difference in our world. We praise you, we honor you, and we thank you.
It is my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Nystrom and Mr. Capew, who will introduce our veterans here today. Veterans, if you're able, please stand when you are recognized. Thank you.
Mitchell Bernstein, U.S. Army, Vietnam War. Dennis Gossman, Air Force, Vietnam War. Dutch de Groot, U.S. Army, Air Force, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, Operation Provide Comfort. Virgil and Karen Wendt, U.S. Army, Korean War.
Tom Severin, U.S. Air Force, Vietnam War. Ron Velchek, Air Force, Vietnam War. Casey Becerra, Army, Vietnam War. Dennis Roseline, U.S. Army, South Korea.
Jerry Cook, Army, Vietnam War. John Mukiyama, Army, Germany. Laura Matuzek, Army, Bosnia. Chuck Orrin, Navy, Vietnam. Fernando Perez, Marine Corps, Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom.
Joe Vano, Army, Vietnam War. August Gredanis, Navy, Vietnam War. Robert J. Lucci, Army, Vietnam War. Robert Resnick, Army, Coast Guard, Vietnam War.
Jim Parker, Air Force, Vietnam War. Bill Starr, Army, Vietnam War, Bosnia, Kosovo. Les Durov, Navy, Vietnam War. Ron Blake, Army, Vietnam War.
John Goals, Army, Vietnam War. Matt Meesterheim, Air Force, Korea War.
Stuart Johnson, Vietnam War, Navy. Dennis Kane, Army, Vietnam War. Cara Duffy, Navy, Desert Storm. Guillermo Rosales, Marine Corps, Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom.
And we have Jerry Nedolicki, Army, World War II.
It's been a while since we had a World War II, so thanks for coming with us, Jerry, and happy 99th. I want to conclude today with a few remarks. First off, thank you to our speakers today. They did an amazing job. Kendall, Leah, Riley, and Shane. I don't remember a time when they coordinated their dresses to be a red, white, and blue representation for the flag. So the little details they put in the last couple of weeks preparing definitely shows so many ways. I also want to thank our school board and the rest of the District 23 community for their support along the process. I just have one speech, but everyone else put so much work together. We talk about communities of belonging in our district, and when we talk about that speech on who is a veteran, in the crowd now we have so many District 23 people, whether they're supervising lunch, driving our buses, or being our substitute teachers for a long-term maternity leave. We really appreciate all the different types of veterans that are out there serving our district and our community. And thank you to our Student Senate led by Mr. Casey and Mrs. Caleras. Please stand up if you've been a part of Student Senate this year. It's a great service organization in our district. And in District 23, we engage all students in learning experiences to inspire each of them to grow as learners, individuals, and community members. So serving back to your community is a huge part beyond academics. It's at the core of the work that we do. whether it's collecting supplies for local service members overseas, helping to get books in the hands of those that need them through Bernie's Books Bank, we're always working to serve. Thank you. But today is another opportunity for us to serve those who have already served so much. I hope you enjoyed the signs, the placemats, the decorations, all handmade by our students. I hope you enjoyed the musical performances by our band, orchestra, and chorus. And the feedback was already pretty good, but I hope you enjoyed the breakfast by our student senate and our kitchen staff. This is a special time and the least we can do for you. You had the courage to serve our country, and because of that courage and service, we are able to honor you here today. Marauders, these veterans have stood up and done the right thing for those around them. I encourage you to continue to use them as a model and stand up to do the right thing for yourself and those around you. Thank you for being our models. Thank you for also influencing our generation. It's a simple phrase, the word thank you. But I don't know if we use it enough or let each other know that enough. When someone holds the door for you, be sure to thank them. Look them in the eye and say thank you. If there's someone out there that you appreciate their works, let them know. Send a note. Fill out a turkey. That's something at MacArthur we're putting on the lockers. You'll see them if you haven't already seen them. It's a bunch of turkey gratitudes, just putting out notes of gratitude towards our peers. But the wonderful thing about appreciation is that it brightens someone else's day, but it also brightens your day when you're writing that note or saying thanks to someone and you see them smile. So continue that on in November, a month of gratitude. We have Thanksgiving coming up, but don't let it stop just with this next holiday. Continue it on. So before I conclude, I have 3 thanks because I know the kids have to get to class and we have a few other things to go forward. But to everyone that added to today's event, thank you. To our special guests here on the floor, thank you. To our other veterans, whose memories are in our hearts and minds, thank you. This has been a great day. I hope it continues to be a great day of appreciation. Thank you, veterans, for all you've done for our community.
Chairman, as representative of the American Legion of the VFW in Mount Prospect, all year long we encourage our members to come to this festive occasion on Veterans Day celebration for a lot of reasons, but primarily your orchestra and chorus doing the national anthem is very moving. And we ask you to do it again for us today.
Well, I'm not performing, so are we ready, kids?